Your midfielders are arguably one of the most important positions in all of Football Manager. They're the heartbeat of your team and can massively determine whether your side is successful or not, depending on which midfielder you have. So today I'm going to pick out 10 of my favourite meta midfielders that you need to use in FM24. But before we get started with my picks, what is a meta midfielder? Well, an example from previous episodes of this series that we've done is FM24, and he is someone that suits the match engine this year perfectly in Football Manager. It tends to be when you get these kind of profiles where you have an all-round midfielder as opposed to a guy that's really technically good or really solid defensively. These kind of players tend to play better in FM. So in Thuram's case, he's maybe not the world's best in any particular thing, but he's a decent passer, he's good in the tackle, he's got good finishing ability and dribbling ability, and his physical attributes are very well balanced. And it tends to be those big physical profiles in the middle of the park that have a mixture of strength, height, pace, all around in their game. They're the guys that always perform well, so they're the people we're going to be looking at in today's video. If you enjoy what you see, make sure you smash the like button for us, but most importantly today, go into the comments and let me know your favourite meta midfielder, because we're hoping to make a follow-up to this with your guys' pick. So who always plays well for you, who always does a good job in the middle of the park? Let us know down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into the first of our top 10. And in no particular order, our first player is a German midfielder that you can find out at Stuttgart. It's Atakan Karazor, who is an important player for his side already, can operate in that 6th position, but also in the centre of the park, and he is someone that fits the exact profile of what we discussed earlier. He's 6'3", which makes him actually a physical beast in the middle, but also the attributes back that up. He's decent in the air, actually very good in the air with 16 jumping reach. He's got strength, decent pace and acceleration, good stamina and natural fitness. He works really hard, works well in a team, positions himself well, and he's got some great mental attributes all around. In fact, his personality type is resolute, and he is a leader personality. And at age 26, heading into his prime for a high-level Premier League club, he is a player that could start for you week in and week out. When it comes to the technical side of the game, he's got an eye for a pass with 15 passing, decent vision and technique, can tackle well, good marking ability. Again, we mentioned that aerial ability before. The only real weakness I would point out in his game is maybe his finishing ability, but if you can forgive that, this is a great all-round midfielder for only about 10 million. But we've got players of all different price points in this video, so let's get rid of the most expensive one that I've picked out today, and it's Javi Guerra of Valencia. Now, he's one of the youngest players in this list, but I've actually used him in my own rebuild with Valencia, which will be coming out this week on my channel, linked in the description if you want to check it out, and he went on to be a world-class player. You can already see he's a Wonderkid, age 20, when you start your games, with a decent personality and really well-rounded attributes, but this is only him at 20 years of age. When he hits that potential, he is actually world class. He will be one of the best midfielders in the world. The issue is at Valencia, he's going to be pretty hard to prize off their hands. He does have a release clause of 86 million. Looks like you can get him for a little bit cheaper here, and he will be worth that money, but of course it is a big investment, so keep an eye on him in your save. Maybe if something happens, if he gets the last year of his deal and he hasn't signed a new one, you might be able to pick yourself up a bargain. But irrespective of price, I needed to point him out because he was so good. He was scoring goals every season, creating chances, being one of the best players in our team by far, and was one of the most complete midfielders in world football. But speaking of young players, for a much cheaper fee, you can find Alexander, who is a 19-year-old Brazilian playing for Fluminense out in Brazil. Now, looking at him, he is obviously not as complete as some of the others that we've seen, but he is a lot younger at only 19 years of age, so you're certainly buying a bit of potential here as well as starting ability. But either way, for 6 or 7 million, you're getting a versatile player, but realistically a defensive midfielder who, if you put him in as, say, a deep line playmaker in that number 6 spot, I think he'd do a great job. Some really well-rounded attributes, both technically and mentally. The same physically as well, to be honest. Lacks a little bit of height, but that is probably the only thing that you'd really want to see added to his game. But with the way that he is right now at 19, with those mental attributes, in no time he'll start developing to be a top-level player. We're seeing a lot of 13s, 14s in some of these attributes. Give it a couple of seasons of playing, and he will have 15s, 16s in a lot of these areas, and you'll be seeing a very, very talented midfield option who is going to go right to the very top. He was actually suggested by you guys in the last meta midfielders video we did, so it was a great call out from whoever said it in the comments. I've checked him out since. A great player who you definitely all need to take a look at if you've got the money for him. So that's a few players from our list of 10 knocked out the way, but before we continue, just to let you know, I'm currently using the latest database from Football Manager that came out from the winter update, but if you guys want to have updated data databases to have updated promotions and relegations, transfers, new Wonderkids, and player ability changes, you can get that in our FM24 to FM25 DLC, which is completely free, and I'll leave it linked in the description down below. If you download that, you'll get your game as realistic as it would be to FM25 if that did actually come out. Unfortunately, we all know it didn't, and then your game hopefully will feel a little bit more fresh and continue playing until we do see the release of a new game. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, download it. But for this video, I kept it to the standard FM database because I know most people will be playing with that still. But if you're looking for a little bit more of a forward-thinking midfielder, then you might want to check out Andrea Kopani, who is an important player for Monza in the Italian divisions, known in-game as Brianza if you don't have the name fixed. This is a 24-year-old Italian midfielder who is a former under-21 international who offers a lot on the ball, actually. Now, he is definitely, like I say, more forward-thinking as he is defensive. He can put in a tackle, but when you look at his position and his marking, I think you want to use him in that more attacking licensed spot where he's got 14 finishing, some great vision off the ball work, passing and technique to create chances and score his own. He can hit a free kick, he can hit a long shot, which is going to be very beneficial. He heads the ball well, and he is 6'1". He's fairly quick, fairly strong, and fairly tall. Everything we're after from a physical profile. A nice head of hair as well, if that's going to sell you on him. Some flair and some very nice mental attributes. A balanced personality, but an intelligent player style. For about 15 million quid here, I think this is a very underrated player that not many people have signed, because for me, this could be a top 6 level Prem player in no time, but right away could easily help, you know, let's say a Crystal Palace, a mid-table Prem team, a Wolves, someone like that. You bring this guy in and he is going to start for them and perform at a very high level. We continue with the theme of Italian players though, with 21-year-old Eduardo Bo as our next pick. You can find him at Roma, and there you will find a 5'9" midfielder who does lack in the height department, but has everything else going for him physically, but it's his mentals where I think you really see what shines about him as a player, because he's got great work rate, great teamwork, and he's a very determined player too. You can see he's got great bravery as well, aggression, anticipation. He is a mental monster, and you can see that with a model citizen personality, which is amazing to have on a 21-year-old. He's a leader as well, supposedly at a young age, which I'm not necessarily sure I agree with only 9 leadership, but by the time he's 24, 25, I can guarantee he looks like he's going to be club captain material. He'll be a great mentor for younger players too when it comes to it, but technically, he's not lacking too much either. Yes, there's some poor attributes here, but when you actually look at what they are, they're not really going to affect his game that much. When it comes to what matters, the tackling, the positioning, the marking, he's got the defensive side down. He's great at passing football too, with that 14 passing and 13 technique, and he's got the holy trinity of dribbling, finishing, and first touch, all at a very good level. Can operate as a 6 or in that central midfield spot. I think he's a fantastic option for about 20 million. But for a similar price point, if you want a more experienced midfielder, then Dennis Zachariah could be the man for you. He's a Monaco player, formerly of Chelsea on loan, Juventus, Mönchengladbach, and the Swiss leagues as well, where he's kind of been around the block at this point in his career, but he is now a very experienced midfielder in the French leagues, available for that 20-25 million price range, going into his prime at 26 years of age. The Swiss international has amazing physicals. That's probably the best part of his attribute set. He's 6'3" and is just so complete in those physical areas. Pace, stamina, strength, aerial ability, combine that with some brilliant work rate, tackling, teamwork, and you have a brilliant ball-winning midfielder. He is going to break up play like nobody's business and can pass when he gets it as well. He's not going to be creating a million chances a game, but he can do what is asked of him at a good level. Mentally, he is a resolute personality, and he's got some super balanced attributes, can hit a long shot, and is also good when it comes to dribbling and first touch. So is he the best creator and goal scorer? Maybe not, but if you're looking for someone to break up play, a box-to-box midfielder, a ball-winning midfielder, Dennis Zachariah could be the man for you. But now we're going to have a look at the cheapest player in my list today, and this is another one that was recommended by you guys in the comments of a previous video. It's 20-year-old Martin Netto, a Benfica player currently on loan when you start your saves at Gil Vicente, also in the Portuguese leagues. Now at age 20, he is of course not the final article just yet, and you can tell that by looking at him, and the reason that he's so cheap is because he's not as good as the other players we've looked at. But if you're at a lesser team and you want someone that could grow into a top talent, he could be the one, because you can already see the base set of attributes that he starts with are very well rounded. There's not really a weakness in his game. He's kind of got everything going for him at a basic level, and from there you can really hone him and define him in whatever way you want through training. But that physical attribute set that he's got already does bode well for the future, as does those mentals as well. I think technically is where he might lack a little bit. You might want to up that dribbling, you might want to up the tackling ability, the marking. He's not going to be the best defensive minded midfielder in the world, but in a few years time, if you have him in Mazzala on the attack duty with a bit of development, this could be a Portuguese international for sure. But as we head into our final 3 players, if you have enjoyed this so far, make sure you smash the like button and remember to comment your favourites down below for us to check out for next time. But we head back to Monza, where they have another brilliant player by the name of Matteo Politano. He's a 26-year-old Italian international who, considering he's had so many caps for Italy, I don't think I actually recognise the name. Now, he was at Atalanta before, but now he is a Monza player. They spent £10 million on him. At age 26, they are getting a midfielder in his prime who, again, has that physical profile, 6'2", well-rounded mentals and very good physicals too. He's got great passing ability on the ball, and whilst he can tackle fairly well, I think he's another one that you want to have a little bit further forward, creating chances. He's got good long shots, good heading ability, first touch, finishing and dribbling. You want him crashing into that box. He's got some nice player traits as well, all about running with the ball through the centre. So if you have him in this area here, he's going to bomb forward, create chances, get on the end of crosses, and really be a complete midfielder, scoring goals at probably the highest level you could ask of him. Player 9 out of 10 though is in the Spanish leagues, and it's a former Spanish international, Fran Beltram, playing for Celta Vigo in La Liga. This is a 5'5" midfielder who is a little bit different in terms of the other players we've looked at, because he isn't the physical profile that many of them are. Yes, he's got some good physical attributes, but he's not strong and he's not winning anything in the air. Mentally though is where I think he really shines, because you can see, yes, he's a good creator technically and he's got good first touch and dribbling, but it's the work rate that you're seeing here and the teamwork that are really going to make him play well in the in-game engine. He likes to dictate tempo and comes deep to get the ball, and he likes the ball played into his feet. So for me, I think you need to be using him as a deep line playmaker on the defense duty. You can see straight away it's highlighting some real key areas of his game, and with the attributes that are selected, he looks like he's going to be perfect for that role. Combined with some extra ones like work rate in there, off the ball work, he is going to be someone that's really going to be the linchpin at the base of your midfield and could easily play at a high level. The person that suggested him a few videos back said that he had him in a Liverpool team and he basically became a starter for Liverpool in no time, even though he was only intended as a backup. And I could see how this guy could surprise you, because at first he doesn't look amazing, but when you actually look at what's needed for the role that he's going to play, he smashes it out the park. But my final pick is a complete midfielder who's going to go on in most of your saves to be world class. It's Verall of Porto, a 21-year-old Argentinian who has got a big future ahead of him, but already is good enough to play for a Champions League level side in Porto. He's got amazing attributes, particularly in those mental areas where there is nothing lacking in his game at all. He is good at literally everything. 5'9", but he has that strength. Yes, he's maybe not the best aerially, but everything else is amazing. He's got the work rate, the passing ability, the vision, the technique. He might not score too many goals, but he is going to be the ideal box-to-box midfielder. Apparently, you can play the Carrilero as well pretty well, which isn't a role that many people do use, but it does show he can do that too. But Verall is my final meta midfielder, and that completes our list for today. Let me know in the comments your favourites, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.